Hey everyone, welcome back to part 2 of creating our Pong game. So last time we got our player sprite loaded in, rotated, and set to the bottom of the screen. Let's go ahead and see how we can get that um, player moving left and right. All right. So what we can do is let's create a function, and we'll just call this one control bat. That's fine. And what we can say is if get raw key state, and the key that we're going to be pressing is 37, and I'll show you how I know what this is in a second. Then we're going to decrease player.x by player.speed, and we'll say player.last move equals 2 player.last move time equals get milliseconds, and we'll say end if. All right, so let me show you what this does. All right, so get raw key state. If you don't know what these are, you can see here that this is basically the key number that we're going to be pressing on our keys or on our keyboard. So for me, I'm going to be using the left arrow key. So how you can find out what the code is, you can actually go to this website here. I'll post this in the description. But this will have all the key numbers that we need on our keyboard. So I actually copied this and saved it to a notepad, which is what I recommend you do. But if you come down here, you can see key left, which is the left arrow key, is 37. And that is the key that I referenced here. So it's saying if we're pressing this button or the left arrow key, if that equals 1, so that means it's true, then we're going to decrease the player's X position, which is currently at 512 minus 18, and decreasing is going to go to the left. And we're decreasing it by the player speed, which we have currently set to nothing at the moment. So we will have to set that up. Then we're detecting the last move, and we're also getting our last move time by milliseconds. And I'll come back to these two later to go more in depth. Just for now, just understand that these are going to help us when it comes to um, collisions with the ball. Okay. So let's go ahead and do, if we're going to the right, so we'll say if get raw key state, and that's going to be key 39. We're going to say equals 1. Then we're going to say now instead of decreasing, we're going to increase the X position because right is positive, left is negative. So we're going to say inc player.x player.speed. Then we'll say player.last move equals 2 player.last move time equals get milliseconds, and then we'll say end if. All right, so now what we can do is basically just update the sprite position so that way the sprite follows us. So we need to set sprite position, and what we want to set that to is player.sprite, or we need to move player.sprite, and we want to set that to the player.x and the player.y. And now below that, we can just end the function. And let's test that out. So we need to add our function to the game here. So I'll say control bat. So really quick, underneath our player.sprite, let's go player.speed, and we'll set that to 8. All right, there we go. We can move to the left, we can move to the right, but we can leave the screen. So I want to stop that from happening. So what we can do is back in our function, we'll say right underneath our end if here, what we can do is we'll create another if. Let's say if player.x is less than 44, player.x equals 44. And then we'll end the if. And then we'll do another one. This is for the left side of the screen. Now we'll check for the right side of the screen. So if player.x is greater than 935, then we'll set player.x to equal 935. And we'll end the if. All right, let's test that out. There we go. We stop at the edge of the screen. And let's check the other side. And we stop at the edge of the screen. All right, this is coming along good. So let's go ahead and really quick add our background. So underneath where we created our player image, I'm just going to do global. And then, I don't know, I'll just call this one background. I'll set it to 3. And then what we can say is load image. We're going to load the background. So we're setting it to image number 3. And we're going to say double quotes background.png, close it off, and then we need to create it. And for this one, all we have to do is say background, and then if we run it now, you see it created our background image, but we can't see our sprite, right? So we actually need to, or of our player. So we need to put the background image behind the player sprite. So to do that, what we can do is set sprite depth, and we can just set the background to the depth of 100. And now if we run it, there we go. We can see our background is there. We can move left and right, and we can't leave the screen. Okay. So that's coming along pretty good so far. We're at about 81 lines of code, and it's not too shabby. All right, we'll do the ball in the next one. So that's going to be it for this one, and I will see you guys there.